Well, good morning. We got 3 minutes before the open here. It's June 30th, last day of June, and market looks to be gapping lower. Let me see. I think we had economic data here at 7:30, but just want to see if there's any other data today coming out. There we go. All right. Jobless claims and personal income and outlays looks like that was 7:30 Eastern, or I'm sorry, 7:30 Central Time. Alrighty, well, let's look at the daily chart real quick. Here's our daily, so push up. Let's see, this was Wednesday, so we've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Now we're opening, we'll be around like 3780 looks like. So that's our daily, gapping lower. We've got our 15-minute on the left, so 15-minute chart here. Our 1-minute chart on the right. And looks like I need to adjust one of these. 38.24. This is an old level right here. This is from the other day. And let's see. The lines I'm looking at just indicate the high and the low of the overnight session. I think the better picture might be painted here with this chart on the left. This is the 15-minute overnight sesh. So here was yesterday, a lot of chop, back and forth, indecisive. Market couldn't make up its mind after the big push downward. And looks like we came to 37.60 and are holding steady there. So in my mind, the battle zone is going to be either here, 87 or like 97, down to 65, let's call it. I do remember last week, I think it was last Wednesday, market was trying to get higher and break above like the 80s and 90s. Looked like it was going to do it. It was trying all morning, couldn't do it, failed, got down to like 47. So like 47 and then like 35, those are important areas for sure. But let me drag this out of the way. We'll let the market set up, let it do what it wants to do, and then we'll make some decisions accordingly. And as always, I'll be marking the first minute of trade with 2 lines. I just refer to that as the opening range. Pretty good gap lower here. Yeah, it was last Thursday. So I'm going to go back a little bit and look at Thursday. Try to get an idea for a bigger picture here of what's going on or what could be happening. Yes, here we go. So this is our 5-minute chart, and this is Thursday morning. So let's zoom in a little bit. I'll go ahead and mark the opening range here in a second. This is last Thursday when the market was trying to fill the gap from above. So it's hanging out, trying to push higher, trying to do it. Looked like we might have had a wedge here. Came up, kind of broke that pattern, and then just sold off the rest of the day. I do remember I was at work, but I was looking at the 5 minute and thought, oh, there's a chance that this thing could pull back. And so I added some longs down here, or got long down here. And then there was a really nice run the rest of the day, with the Friday after then just being a powerhouse and blowing higher. But here we are finding ourselves right back in that area, mindful that the overnight low is 37.60, denoted by the red dotted line here. And so it looks like a lot of it's good to be mindful of that. Let's see here. 10 days, 15 minute. Oh, that's 10 day. Okay. All right, so we've got our opening range. Let me mark that here in a second. 1 second. There we go. That and that. Hey, good morning, sir. Morning, Micah. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna get my tea. All right, so definitely pushing lower here. Definitely moving lower. Again, this might give a little bit more context. We've got the 15-minute with the overnight sesh on in the gray area. Dark area, this is regular trading hours, so 8:30 until 3 Central Time. A little bit of congestion here. Wonder if it gives us a little bit of a bounce and then continues to fail. Or perhaps this is it. We are bumping upon the overnight lows. I'm going to try to buy a little bit right here. That might have been the wrong move. I'm only giving it to just slightly under the lows from overnight. So if we get much below that, then I'm going to bail on it. I don't want it. And this might be one where if it doesn't move soon, I might cut bait or at least lighten up on it a little bit. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to lighten up on it right here. And I might just... I'm not going to give it too much time. Yeah, I'm going to flatten right here. So that was a little bit impetuous, that one there. Just want to see more of a bounce, quicker move on that 1 minute. Little antsy there. I think it'd be better to sit back this morning, let some stuff develop, and then go from there. Yeah, I was just looking at these 2 5-minute bars, and yeah, I was watching the 1 minute, got in, and I'm looking at the overnight part here, but also looking at this 5-minute bar, thinking, man, we've got 2 red bars. There's no need to be a hero here and try to catch the low. At least not yet. So we'll let this thing flush out and get a better idea for what we want to do. So to me, this is like a congestion area here. Open, just sold it right off. So now it's looking like it could probe lower. Well, it looks kind of weak. The question is just where to get involved. Here's our 5 minute on the left, 1 minute's on the right. Got another, let's see, looks like 2.5 minutes until we get a new 15-minute bar. Just gonna hang tight, sit back, and wait to see what the market wants to do, see what's going on. So we've got a little peak below the overnight low. Okay, so here's where we spent a good amount of time kind of in this area a week ago. Between here and here, we're now significantly, like we're on the bottom side of that, right? Again, this is the 15-minute chart I'm looking at right here. So we're on the lower edges of that. Got a new 15-minute bar right here. Just see what develops. Feels pretty weak. 5 minute just pushing lower. Couldn't get it up to 70. Came up to here. We'll see what happens here. Well, I was thinking this morning if wondering if anyone's ever been in a threatening situation, and how with trading we can, if we're in a trade and we're stressing out about it, we can view it as threatening. So the question then becomes, what can we do to remove the threat? How do we get rid of the threat in trading? For each person, it might be different. But I think if you think back to threatening situations or difficult life circumstances, really things that have been hard that you've gone through, and then you think about trading and how there's a threat there or a perceived threat, you'd want to think about how can I remove the threat. A way that I do that is just by reminding myself that I don't have to take a single trade in a day. There's some days that I'm gonna see the market clearly, have a good idea of what's going on, what I think I'd like to do. Then there's gonna be other days where it takes longer to see that picture develop. There'll be other days where, especially if I'm watching the market for the first 2 hours and then I'm done, there might be some days where I don't have a clear thesis. I don't have a clear, hypothesis for what may happen or what may happen and is worth putting money on. That's the big thing there. And anyone can have a thesis or a hypothesis, but the question is then like, well, is it worth putting my money on? Is it worth, seeing what the probabilities are and being rewarded if it works, or losing some money if it doesn't? So yeah, just remembering that as you're trading, as you're kind of improving what you're doing, that there's no one who's forcing you to make a trade. If you're seeing something or you're trying to figure something out, like, give it time, let it shake out. I'll be the first one to admit that I feel that I need to work on my patience as a trader. Just let things set up a little bit more, and give it some time. So I feel a good way to remove the threat is by knowing where you're wrong, having stop losses and targets in place, and also just going with your gut. So I was a little antsy on the morning, saw we're way down, gapping lower, thought, I'd like to see a gap fill. So like I mentioned, quite impetuous, got involved here, give it about a minute, 30 seconds, and just realized, you know what, like, we're 7-8 minutes into the morning, like, we've got several hours to let this thing set up and shake out, and yes, there might be a move that I miss, but I'd rather be in on a move where I have strong conviction versus just like throwing stuff against the wall and seeing if it sticks. Because it might work in the short term, but long term, when I talk about following our process well, to me, that isn't a good way to do it. And even with that trade, I immediately thought, because I talk a lot about following your process, not being too worried about the outcome, but knowing that if you follow the process, the outcome will follow. I'm in it, and like immediately I'm thinking, what's my process here? Am I just concerned that I'll miss it? And so that was kind of a good like slap. Like, hey dude, what are you doing? Like, just cut bait, get out, wait until you see something worth doing, and put your money in on that trade. So that was a way that I removed the threat. There was just nothing there. And I thought, well, there might be something here. But I'd rather say, I see something here. I see something developing, and the market's starting to even go my way and prove it. I'm going to get involved and take a trade. That, for me, would be a good way to remove the threat, to just wait to see a setup that you're looking for. All right, I would think we're going to push lower here. Looking at our 5-minute. Whoops. What was that? Oh, there we go. It just enlarged a bit. That's all. Oh boy. I don't know what's going on here. Let me move this back. There we go. Let's try that. So here's our 5-minute. Kind of looks like a skeleton. Little skeleton bones down here. Hanging out. Doing its thing. We've got 15-minute with the overnight session over here. And I'm curious to see what they do at 70. If they take it up there, and if they do make it that high, if it gets sold off again and then continues lower. I am not involved right now. Not involved. Just hanging out, just waiting. Hedge gap down. It's cool, man. No problem. I've been there. Shoot, if I had to type everything I have to say, I'd be doing it all the time. What's that? Munishali. I'm so sorry. I'm not saying your name correctly, but I see you there. Huge gap down. That is correct. So let's see if the trend continues now. It feels like it would, but let's see. I thought the bulls might be able to get it up closer to 70 and then sell off from there. Again, here's our 5 minute. Here's our 15 with the shaded area here. Putting in a new low. And so yeah, as I mentioned, I'm not involved right now. Just waiting for a little bit more market generated information. Wanted to also talk about my daughter, who's swimming in the deep end at her swimming lessons. So most days she's with the coach, and she's in 4 feet of water, no big deal, coach is there. But it's a place where they do scuba diving training as well. The deep end is 14 feet, so there's people like way down at the bottom doing their thing and practicing getting certified for scuba. And my daughter, it's a different ball game when she's in the deep end. I mean, she's doing the exact same thing as she is where it's shallow, where it's 4 feet, where an instructor's right there and her instructor can stand. Now, mind you, in the deep end, her instructor is right there too. My daughter's 7 years old. But man, there's a new level of like care and concern and attention to detail when she's in that deep end. And just seeing her do that, when I see her do that, it just reminds me of the mental fortitude as traders that we need in order to survive the deep end, so to speak. So it's one thing to have a hunch or to paper trade, but when it comes to the point where you're putting real money in your trades, you better be vigilant. You better have a good idea as far as where you're right and where you're wrong. You better know what your process is. Because, boy, it's easy to have 7, 8, 9 great trades, but then somewhere in the mix have 1 or 2 where if you're not protected, if you're not following the process well, where it can really hurt you and affect not just your P&L, which, that's one thing, but really affect your mental state, your emotional state. When I was having big swing, trying to get there, like having big swings up and down, the hardest, it wasn't a big deal like on a day if I lost $500 or whatever your number might be. For you, a small amount to lose might be 10 grand, or a large amount to lose might be $50. The damage that it does mentally, for me, that was the hardest thing. So it's good to know that with trading, like, there are perceived risks and threats, and we better have a game plan as far as how we want to handle those, how we're going to act, where are we wrong on a trade if it doesn't work out. To me, that's part of following the process well. All right, thoughts for the morning. That was it. You get what you pay for, so you're welcome. Last day of the month here. Market's selling off pretty good. Just pushing down. I got a buddy, Brendan. He's such a good trend trader. Hey, thanks so much, Code. But my buddy, Brendan, he's just great at like seeing. He watches 5 minute. That's all he watches, and he'll see some bars. He'll get involved. He'll have like pretty wide stops, and then he'll just ride that thing. He's really good at that. Me personally, I've mentioned that I tend to be. Well, I don't tend to be. I am. I focus a lot more on like a day like yesterday where it's choppy, where there's some defined highs and lows, I do a lot better on a day like that versus a trend day. So, trading, there's different tools that you can add to your toolkit, your tool belt. And there's some tools that I use well, and there's others where it's like, man, I need to get that tool, or I need to do that better. This 47 area it's significant to me because this is where the market came down a week ago Thursday. Was it Thursday? Yeah, it was Thursday. Not to say, like, I'm not getting involved here at all, but Micah had a sell order and a 63, but no fill. Ooh, yeah, I could see that. 63, maybe give it up to 65, so maybe you're trying to have a real tight stop on that. I don't know, Micah. But 47, this was the area that last Thursday we were trying to push above. So let me bring in that daily chart again. So here's our daily. This was last Thursday, and I remember this day looking at this beautiful gap here. So Thursday was a day I was licking my chops thinking, well, we came down these 2 days, consolidated. Maybe this is the day that we fill this gap and get a good blast off. So I was in and out, getting long, like doing some stuff in here, and then eventually had a stop in place, and it took me out, and it just ran lower. And then halfway through the day reversed, came up strong, and it was Friday that we filled the gap. But that low that we put in was right, let me see what the low was. Oh, I don't have it there. Well, let me scoot this over just a tad. Our low there, 37.45 half. So it looks like we didn't quite get there. I wouldn't be surprised though if we get there. And not that that's a magical number or anything, but all the guys who bought last Thursday and held it into Friday were right back to that area. So to me, this may have some significance. It may not. With trading, it's a lot of like, if this, then that. If that, then this. Yeah, origin code. I'm wanting to. So with this channel, I made it just for myself to watch playback of trades that I take. I trade just the first maybe 2.5 hours of the morning, and then I'm done. And I thought it would be beneficial, just like professional athletes, how they'll watch tape of themselves performing. I thought, well, hey, I should do that. Let me, be placing my trades, record it, and then even when there was no one watching, just talking, pretending there's an audience there to explain things to hear my process. Again, not too worried about the outcome, but instead focusing on following the process well. And in doing that, I thought, oh, there's some good stories to tell. But as people have started joining now, it's exciting to me because I want to have a group of people who are trading, and I talked about that a bit yesterday. I was mentioning it in reference to Micah and some of the trades that he takes. Trades where he, in my opinion, he's a much better trend trader than I am, and that's something that I need to get stronger at. But the story, I was going to mention something about the stories. I had it there, and then I lost it. It might come back to me. It might come back. Okay, it came back. I've got it. But I thought I want to focus a lot more on the psychological, the emotional, the mental aspect of trading. I love everything that Mark Douglas writes about trading, and there's channels or there's places where people talk about the technicalities of their trades, and granted, like that's what trading is about. If you're a short-term day trader, you're looking at technicals. So we'll definitely focus on what the market is doing, like what it's trying to do, and is it doing a good job? Maybe why it's doing it, some context. But just as much, I really want to focus on psychology and handling a trade well, handling your emotions well. I've often said that, then like even now, the market is just moving to the downside, moving down. And in the past, I'd have a lot of FOMO. I'd think, man, like it's moving. I got to get involved. I got to do something here. Well, I don't want to try to catch the lows. We're obviously in a downtrending market. If we get some kind of a snapback and a pullback, I'll look to get short. But for me, there's just nothing, like I wasn't short here. I had a tiny trade here that I thought about, then exited like 30 seconds later just because my gut told me don't go with it. I wasn't following the process well. So forgive me if I'm just rambling on, but for me personally, there's just nothing that I'm doing right now. I will stop. If there's something worth doing, worth jumping on, I will let you know and let you know where I'm right, where I'm wrong. But in the meantime, we'll just talk about, following our process well, having a game plan. And I think more than anything, like putting trading into perspective. Again, no one's holding a gun to our head saying like, all right, dude, you got to make 10 trades today and you got to make them in the next 1 hour or 2 hours and you got to be profitable. Man, nobody's saying that. We can put a lot of pressure on ourselves sometimes to think, well, I want to be an active trader. I want to be successful, so I got to get involved. And I think that's a fallacy. We don't have to always be active. All right, let's look at some levels here. So again, looking at our 15 minute here, 5 minute over here, getting a little pop. Nothing too noteworthy, I don't think. I'm just gonna look here and see where halfback is. Just to be mindful, let's see where halfback is. What do we got? Looks like halfback puts us right at that 63, close to 63 half. So yesterday for me was a very active day. I was in and out quite a bunch. I had like 5 or 6 trades. Let's see, the day before I had 3 trades. Today had one with just a tiny loss, like scratched half of it, and then the other half like just got out of it. I'd much rather take a loss if I have no conviction, and if the trade was a little bit of a FOMO trade, which it was, shortly realized like, hey dude, just wait for a good setup. So today we're just gonna watch and see what the market wants to do. Yeah, thanks Origin, and yeah, thanks Micah. Yeah, we talk about what can I control? Can I control the market? Certainly not. I have no control over what the market does. Can I control myself? I should be able to. Can I control my outcome? I really can't. And that's the tricky thing. I can control my process, right? I can control the process, but to control the outcome, I'm not able to. But if I follow my process well, and if I stick to my rules and guidelines, typically the outcome that you're wanting will follow. So for me, I remind myself that every day, every single day, I can and I will have a winning performance. Because I define winning as just, there's 3 prongs to it, 3 parts. watching and observing. To me, to have a winning performance, to be able to watch the market without fear and emotion, man, that's huge. So I can do that. I can sit back, watch, be a student of the market, learn, see what's going on, and make decisions from there. So secondly, part of having a winning performance every day is not fearing that I'll miss a move. So as I talk about that, as I hardwire that into my conscious and subconscious or psyche or whatever it is, the minute that I take a bad trade here and I've got a little fear that I'll miss the move, I might miss the pop, if I'm consciously telling myself that, within 10 seconds of placing the trade, I'm kind of like, dude, what are you doing? Like, this isn't who you are as a trader. So just cut bait. If you make a little, if you lose a little, just get out of it. Not fearing that I'll miss the move. And then the third part of having a winning performance every single day is simply entering my trades knowing where I'm wrong and where I'm right. If I can do those three things, even on days where I lose, so not yesterday, but the day before, trend day, losing day, had 2 trades that were losers, had one that was a winner, but stops were in place, kind of had my insurance policy based on having a stop, knowing where I was wrong, and in my mind, that's a win. When you come out, even if you've lost money, if you've followed your process well, then that's a win. Because then you're going to have days that make up for it, like yesterday, where there was a lot of opportunity for my style of trading. I was in and out a bunch, catching some good moves. It made sense. I was kind of having a good idea of what the market was doing and could do, and I took advantage of it. So it keeps your powder dry for the next day, allows you to live to trade another day. Ben D, how's it going? Another area that's important, I think it's around like 35. I can remember last week in the overnight session, must have been the night between Wednesday and Thursday, the low that we put in was 35 on the overnight low. Again, not that that's a super important level or anything, but it'll be worth paying attention to. So this 45 to 47 could have some importance. Same with like 35. I would think, well, I'm not going to speculate too much. We're just going to watch and see what the market does. Let it do its thing. So again, we've got our opening range here. It's just the first minute of trade. The orange bar just denoting the high and low of that first minute. It's really important to know like where the market opens at. I've mentioned several times how a year ago I was working with a professional trader, been a trader for 20 plus years, was trading in Chicago on the screens back in like 96, 97, neat guy. And he said, man, I'll tell you, these guys on the floor, he wasn't, just generally speaking, he's like, it's something. Like they know the overnight high and low, and they're familiar with yesterday's open and close and high and low, and they trade off of those levels. Now, granted, I mean, things are a lot different, 20 years later, where I don't think anyone's really on the floor. I don't know. I think the S&P pit is like done. I could be wrong. But obviously the bulk of the volume happens on the screen. But it still is important to know, like, hey, these overnight levels, the high and the low from the other day, or high and lows from other days, they're important levels. Good to be mindful of that. We're 42 minutes into the trading day. I've talked a lot. Pardon me for that. I don't want to get annoying, so if I'm talking too much, just let me know. It might be just to keep myself from being, over trading or not being too involved. Somehow break even again. Ben D. You break even, Ben? You had a few trades this morning? See if the bulls are able to push it higher or if we just continue fading here. Got another minute and a half till we get a new 15-minute bar. We've put in what could be kind of a wick, but as we well know, a lot can happen in a minute, minute and a half. A lot can happen in 10 seconds. You could blink your eye. Literally, we could be 20 points higher or lower. If that doesn't make you want to put in a stop, I don't know what will. It's easy. People can say, "Oh man, it was a black swan event. It's a once every 10-year type of a deal," and those things happen. And we've got to be mindful of those things, of those black swan events that are just unforeseeable. Got to prepare for them. Well, if you're new to the channel, there's other channels where there's a lot of technical stuff going on and this, that, and the other. I trade based off of the daily, the 15-minute, the 5-minute, and the 1-minute. That's about it. There's all different ways to trade, but I think people who are aspiring to be traders, there's the search for the Holy Grail, when in actuality it's pretty simple. It's us people who can get in the way. We can be in our own way. Tech T111. Got to be careful taking longs, as they could be bear flags. They certainly could be. Momentum is definitely to the downside. gap lower. Today, that is, we've gapped lower. Oh, I think knowing your own psychology is most important. Guri, Guri Fisu, if that's how you say it. Yeah, it's know thyself. There was some ancient philosopher, somebody who said like know thyself. So yeah, to understand your own psychology, truly, I feel like that's the most important thing. Managing yourself well, right? In so many other professions, you've got to manage so many things: supplies, customers, deadlines, expectations, employees, management, shareholders, perhaps. You've got to manage all that. With trading, I mean, truly, you've got to manage yourself. If you manage yourself and your emotions, I really believe that the P&L, like, it'll take care of itself. You got to manage one thing. You've got to manage one thing. That's it. It's so singular. It's so asymmetrical compared to so many other professions. And the barrier to entry is so low. You need a few $100, right? With like trading micros on margin. Even the regular, the mini contract. Internet connection, computer screens, you're off to the races. But guess what? You've got to manage you. Who knew that you were so hard to manage? Maybe your spouse is, you're understanding like where your spouse is coming from. You're a handful. Creeping up, just kind of creeping on the 1 minute. Again, let's look at the 5. Here's our 1 minute, here's our 5. I look at 1 more for like nuance. It's more like the 5 and the 15 for context that I look at. So if we were to have some kind of move up, to an area that I feel is critical, I'd be watching the 1 minute. That's when I pay a bit more attention to that for context and nuance. Drawing out like where the battle zone is, right? Who's in control. Some days it's a lot easier on the 1 minute to see like where a battle zone is, and other days it takes a little bit more guesswork. But even looking at this, right, we can see that this kind of 55 level, there's 54 right about here. This could be significant. Market still setting up. But, and then certainly up around the 63, 64, 65. But I don't want to read too much into that yet. If there's a time where we get some movement and some back and forth, I'll put some lines and you'll see, you'll have a better idea of what I'm talking about. But not much to draw right here. Oh, sorry, it's probably too loud. I gotta put it on the coaster here. I Ben, I think they have a way to do stuff with hotkeys. I'm not a a thinkorswim expert. Oh, I don't watch Bitcoin at all. I own a little bit, just more as an insurance policy. So, I mean, it's a very, very small percentage of my investable assets. But yeah, I own some just so that if it continues to go to the moon, um, I'm in the game. But if I lose it all, it's like, it's a non event too. So, sure, at some points, like everything is correlated or uncorrelated for certain amounts of time. But I don't watch Bitcoin as it relates to the market. Again, I'm just watching the S&P, just looking at basic price action. Got another minute and a half till we get a new 5-minute bar. I'm wondering if I should change this one to 5-minute for you guys. That might show a little bit better picture. Although I'm used to having 15 here and then 5 below, so it's weird, like the things you get used to. This setup or the layout. Even that though, maybe it might be good to shake it up a bit. Perhaps it would slow down my trading where I'd, have to remember this is the 5-minute. Look at another screen for the 15-minute. Look at another screen for the daily. Tech, I saw your... Man, I tell you what, any of you guys out there looking for a new setup with monitors, I saw Tech T111. He's selling like 4 computer screens. And looks like there's some good capabilities there with computing power. Something like 50 terabytes. No, I'm just playing. Like 5 iCore 7s or something. Just crazy. No, it wasn't that. But I saw his post on Facebook. So, yeah, if you're interested. He did mention, though, that the shipping costs would be what would get you because of the weight of it all. But anyone who's needing some new monitors, I think he's your guy. All right, pull back to 45. So that 37.45 quarter, again, I mentioned it was last Thursday. That was a level that got bought up. We bottomed at that amount and then did an about face, pushed up for the rest of the afternoon. Not that I'm like looking to get long here at this level, but it's just, just an area worth noting, worth being mindful of. So right now the mini battle would be this 45 level right here and probably right up to about here or maybe 55. So again, it doesn't look like much, but you got a 10-point range here. So, a little bit of a battle zone. Thanks, Ben. Anytime, man. You have a great weekend too. Well, we're almost an hour in. Not doing a whole bunch right here. Another thing we've got to keep in mind is just tempo and cadence of the market. Yesterday, real whippy, back and forth. For me, good amount of opportunity, decent amount of trades. Today, tempo is certainly different. We've sold off. Doesn't mean that tempo can't adjust at any point during the day. Got another 2.5 minutes until we put in a new 5-minute bar and a new 15-minute bar. We've got our 15 on the left, minute bar on the right. I look at the daily and the 5-minute as well. Now let's see if bears take out 45 and continue lower, or if bulls get it above 55. Let's see. Last day of the month, June 30th. June 30th. Patience is paramount. Conviction is king. Oh, I like those. Let's write those down. Sometimes just sitting on my hands, I feel like, you see the basketball players sitting on the sidelines. They've got their warm-up suits on to stay warm even when they're not playing, kind of keep them loose, keep them in the flow of the game. And yesterday was easier for me to be in the flow as I was, I'm taking some trades, like I'm in it. I feel like I've got a good idea what's going on. And, so you start your day at 8:30 or 8:15 or 8 o'clock Central. Maybe you're prepping for the market during the pregame. Maybe you're trading with the numbers that came out this morning, and you think, okay, all right, I'm warmed up. I'm ready to go. Here comes the tip-off. And then you're told by the market, if there's nothing for you to do, oh, there's a delay of game. Like, you're going to have to wait until you see something good. Well, wait how long? I don't know. It could be 10 minutes or it could be an hour and a half. So hang tight. So that's what I feel like today. Just like, okay, I was ready to do something this morning and haven't really done much yet. Just waiting, watching. So I was warmed up, but I feel like I need to re-warm up, if that makes any sense. So Mini's battle zone, I'll call it this 54 level. 54. I'm curious to see what they do up here at between 63 and about 65. That's halfback. Halfbacks are like 64 half. Curious to see what the market does there. How it responds, what it's trying to tell us, what's it trying to do, and is it doing a good job? Well, there's our 15-minute, just hanging out. Decent move on the 5-minute bar. Pushing up to the overnight low. Let's see if it can hold on. So here's our 5-minute. Getting a pretty good move there. We are at that 64, 65 level, which is half back. Again, pretty good move on the 5-minute. Got another like half a minute until that 5-minute bar is complete. $65 area is half back, so that's half of the move from here, from the high to the low. That's half of it right there. Half of the move. Let's see how this bar closes. Good amount of volume on that one. Gonna give it a minute here, let it shake out. Gonna see what develops. The Bulls definitely want to keep it above like 37.55 to 54. Watching to see how this 5-minute bar closes. We've still got another 2 minutes for that to happen. When we were lower, I was thinking about a short at halfback. Not in a hurry to get involved here, though. Just going to give it a little time. another half minute till we get a new 5-minute bar. Watching it, watching a 15-minute. I would think we might see a little pop here at 55. And if we do, I'm looking to see where I might like to get involved with the short side. So bears want it below 55, or at least 37.54, which is right about here where I'm holding this line. Come down, let's see if we get a pop, and then what we do, how we react. That 65 level, we'll see what they do. Got another 3 minutes until we get a new 15-minute bar. I was hoping to see a bit, and we still could get a little bit of a pop off of 37.55, like a push higher, and then might get involved with the short side there. So 15-minute, it's come up, put in a wick here, maybe ran some stops here. Now coming right back into that area. But that's nothing that's got me too excited. Not writing home about it. The trading's a lot of if this, then that, if that, then this. If the market does this, I'll try doing that. If I don't do that, I'll consider this. Things like that. And of course, it's easy to see in hindsight. You might say, well, Jeff, you mentioned 37.65. It's half back. It's a significant area. We're in a downtrend. And you're right. As it was moving here, on this, usually on a pull to half back, I like to see a little bit of different action on the 5-minute. So it came up to 65. Didn't mean that it couldn't push up to 70 or 75 though. Could happen, right? Anything can happen. Something will happen. So again, here we are at that 54 level. So as I mentioned earlier, that little 54 could have some significance, and I believe it does, at least at this point. Let's see if we get any kind of follow through on that push up, or if the bears just reclaim it and push lower here. Again, I am looking to take a trade, but I want to see some good price action before I do that, or have some good conviction about where I'm getting involved and why I'm getting involved, where I'm wrong. Asking myself, what is the market trying to do, and is it doing a good job? So even though on the push up here to 37.65, I wasn't involved because I thought, well, we could just as easily push up to here or here. Let me give it some time, and then it sold off. So there's going to be levels that you see that you have ideas about, where sometimes you just don't have a good signal to get in. And for me, the signal is just price action, how it acts at that level, what it does, what it's trying to do. All right. So yeah, bulls want, short-term bulls wanted above this 54 to 55. Bears wanted below this. I think as humans, we often like to try to find cause and effect relationships, right? Like this is happening because of this, or that's happening because of that. As a technical trader, I really don't care what it's doing. I could care less about like a GDP number or CPI. I just want to see how the market reacts to it, because you can have good news and the market can react poorly, or you can have bad news and the market could react in a very positive way. So yeah, who knows? I mean, there's many reasons why the market is doing what it does. But to try to have a thesis for every move, it's, you can't, not to say that there's not cause and effect, there certainly is. But I've been reading a book, working on it. It really is a challenging book, but it's so good. It's called Thinking Fast and Slow. And the writer of it, he's a winner of a Nobel economic prize, the Economic Nobel Prize winner. And he just talks about intuitive biases or biases that we have, and how oftentimes we just aren't aware of them. And how as humans, it's just built in our nature, it's built into our DNA to try to put cause and effect to many things. Like, not that cause and effect is bad, but he just says, sometimes there isn't a cause that we can place our finger on. He gives an example of in the early 90s, Iraq being bombed, and talks then about a news article that has a headline talking about bond prices. Bond prices did this because of the Iraqi bombing. And then that same day, bonds, this is interesting here, bonds did an about face, they changed. Based on this, I might want to try to get short here, based on this wick. I'm going to watch it here. It's a pretty decent rejection. Kind of watch and see where the 5-minute closes as well. Got another 30 seconds till our 5-minute bar closes. So let's see. That might be nothing right there. Might be seeing stuff. If we show weakness, I might be getting involved with the short side. If not, I'm just going to hang tight. Maybe it needs one more push higher in order to come lower. Maybe it doesn't come lower at all. But as I was saying, the bond prices do one thing, a news article comes out explaining why bonds are acting as they are, and then later in the day, bonds totally reverse course. And I mean, these were big bond movements relative to the average move for bonds. And later in the day, a different article comes out saying, well, bonds did this because of this with the bombing. And he just points to the fact that it's not always beneficial to try to give cause and effect to everything that we see. Watching 60 here on the 1 minute. See if we push above it. Watching the 5 minute as well. I'm just gonna say if we get a bit lower, I'm gonna look for a short, but I'm not going to do it yet because this is still showing strength. This 1 minute, like it may want to push up higher. So no need to fight City Hall, right? A lot of times I feel like you'll know it when you see it too. And it's hard because there's enough nuance with the market where it's definitely somewhat scientific, but it's also somewhat artistic. And so got to be mindful of nuance. So it held that 54 level. Next area is going to be that 65, which is, kind of the short-term peak right here. We've got a bit of a wedge. So yesterday we had a wedge. I was kind of playing that one a bit. But we've got potential to have this one. With the neckline here around 65 or 66, we've got some higher lows. Our neckline here. We'll want to see what it does, how it holds this level. I've got my comment screen just off to the side, so if you guys are typing stuff or asking questions, sorry that I haven't responded. Was doing a lot of talking this morning, but I feel like we're getting to some levels that could have some importance. So just a little bit more tuned in now. As to what the market is trying to do. It's trying to go higher. So 15-minute chart on the left, 1 minute on the right. Got 1 more minute until we get a new 5-minute bar. This one is showing some strength. here's the 15 minute overnight. So kind of back up into the middle of this congestion area. Haven't really been too active yet today. Yesterday, by now, I had like 5 or 6 trades that I fired off. They worked out well. Today, still just trying to get a good feel for what the market wants to do. So again, we'll ask ourselves, what is the market trying to do? And is it doing a good job? We've still got a little while until our new 5-minute bar, or until this 5-minute bar is completed. Still have 2.5 minutes to go for this 5-minute bar. It's just hanging in there. Not doing a whole bunch just yet. Most of my trades, when I'm in them, they go, in my way relatively quickly if it's one that's going to work out. Every now and then I've got to give one a little bit more time. All right, we've got 1 more minute until our 5-minute bar is completed. Market's showing some strength. Pretty big 15-minute bar moving up here. So in 1 more minute, we'll have the 5-minute bar forming a new one, or this one closing out. This 15-minute bar will close out. and we will reassess and see what is worth getting into at this level. All right, let's see what it does here. 37.75. So battle zones are definitely 65 and 60, and then you got this 55 level here. You've got this kind of a wedge forming here. Certainly anyone who's long, I would think that they want it to stay above, you know, the wedge, and if not that, then definitely this 54 level. I'm going to watch what we do here on the 5 minute. I'm considering a short. I'm not in it yet. If I was wanting to be aggressive, I feel like I could get short here and I'd be wrong above like 81. So right here. But I'm going to let this set up. We have come up to kind of a congestion area, so I might start doing a little something right here. That was kind of the pop-up that I was looking for. Let's see. I'm selling 25% of what I allow myself to get into. Like to see a little bit more of a move up, and I'll look to sell some more. Looking for 65 and then 37.60 on this one. Kind of watching this 37.75 level. On this, again, I feel I'm wrong if we get up to this 81 level. I'm going to scale out just a tiny bit right there. I'm still holding, and so it's, you know, not a big move at all. I want to get involved if we pop up higher and sell some more. So I sold 1/5 of my position. It took a little bit of profit, took a little bit off the table. Still got another 2 minutes until we get a new 5-minute bar. Looking for a little bit of a pop, a little bit to get me involved some more. Another 1.5 until we get a new 5-minute bar. Gonna watch and see if we make it down to 60 and 55. I'm afraid I was a little too cute on that one, so I'm still involved with the short side, but it wasn't my favorite. I took off 1/5 of it, thinking that it was trying to add some if we pop back up. That hasn't happened yet. Doesn't mean that it can't. But it's pulling in, retracing a bit. So Let's see if we get any kind of continuation. Got, what do we got? 20 seconds to go here until we get a new 5-minute bar. All right, maybe we push up a little bit more and I can sell some more at a better level. All right, that fifth that I took off, I just added it back to there, and I'll be watching these levels here. Just added a little bit more. I'm only in 30% of what I will allow myself to trade. Watching to see these 5-minute bars. So this is a trade that for me, if it works out, it might take a little bit longer to develop. Watching these levels here. It came up to that 37.75. Ideally for me to get short, I like to see this bar be a little bit, not be so low, because it makes me think, okay, we came up to here, we flushed down a bit, and now maybe the trend continues to drive higher. So I am mindful of that. Usually I like to see the bars, a few of them like hang out without putting in a lower low. So it came down that 65 level. And I'm mindful too that we gapped lower today. Gapped lower. So anything can happen and something will happen. The bulls could just step it into high gear here. Really take it higher. Got another, what do we got? 2.5 minutes until we get a new 5-minute bar. Watching it here at this level, we've got a 1.5 minute, 5-minute bar is showing some strength. I haven't added any yet up here. So on the 5-minute, that was really, again, what I was not wanting to see. They come up, pull down, take out a lower low, and 5-minute bar showing some strength. I'm pretty close on this one to being stopped out. Got a half minute until this one's done. Pretty strong here at this level. It would need to come down a bit lower, and if it does, I'll try to just exit at a scratch on this one. I'm not out yet, still holding on, but this one isn't looking good. If anything on this, looking at the 5 minute, trying to look for a retrace to go ahead and get uninvolved. So 74 is going to be another level 2. Let me click that here. Let's edit that guy. Look here at that. There we go. Okay. Got close to taking me out there. I'm still holding it. Next battle zone for me is really this 75 down to about 65. And maybe the bulls on the 5 minute just continue to walk this thing up. Stranger things have happened. Got my stop just a little bit above this 81. I've got it at 82.5. Let's look at our 5 minute again. Showing some strength here. For weakness, you'd want to see it get below this yellow line, the 75, I believe. All right, we've got 1 more minute till we get a new 5 minute bar. And so the question in my mind is this just a spike? It's just a little bit of a retrace and then we power on higher? Or do the bears defend this area, push us lower, and come back into here somewhere? All right, 1 more minute till we get a new 5 minute bar. Bears are just walking it. Bulls are just walking it up so far. I'm going to sell a little bit here, a little bit more right at that level. So I've got my hard stop at 82.5. If we just hold this and we can't get below 75, I might pull it a little bit early. Actually going to bring it to 83 there. Again, the stop, that's just your insurance policy. Bulls keeping it strong. What is the market doing, and is it doing a good job? It's moving higher. It's doing a good job until it isn't. Getting back to, let's see. Let's watch this. Hey, good job, Mike. I was long from 54 out at 72. That's that initial balance. May rotate back down when I see what happens at half back, 63.75. Hey, good job, man. 54 out at 72. I like it. Alrighty, we've got, what do we got? Got another 3 minutes still till we put a new 5-minute bar. I am short around this level. Got my stop at 83. I could be wrong. It'd be the first time we're showing some strength here. Bulls really aren't having any of it. They're just buying it up, trying to push it higher. Curious to see. I'll watch and see what this 1-minute bar does. Long at 68, Micah says. Back in. He's back in the saddle. He's long at 68. Got another 2 minutes until our 5-minute bar is done. We'll see if the Bulls push this 5-minute bar higher or if they just capitulate at this level. That is the question, right? That's the $1 million question that inquiring minds want to know. I am short from this level. Being short here, it'd be great if this little node stuck, if that was the Bulls' last attempt. But as the 5-minute firms up, I feel like we'll get more data, more insight as to what's going on, what the Bulls and Bears are trying to do. Got 1:20 to go till we get a new 5-minute bar. Coming down to that 74 level, let's see if they can break it. The Bears, that is. And we've got another 45 seconds to go on the 5-minute. Want to see where this 5-minute bar closes. That's importante to me. Conmigo. I think I'm saying that correctly. I don't know. I'm going to sell a little bit more right here. Leaning against this 5-minute bar now. So to show weakness, the bears need it below this 75, and the next target's going to be down here to 67 or so. I've got my hard stops in place, so I'm protected. Looking strong here. Looking strong. I would imagine my stops will get taken out here. So we're back inside of opening range. Bulls are just having their way, just pushing it higher. I myself am looking for an end of that move, but it hasn't happened just yet. Bulls just holding it up, keeping it strong. Got to be mindful, whatever you're in, whether you're long or short, that something can happen and anything can happen and something will happen. So came up here, there's a little pop lower, and now we're just right back. It's on the 1-minute chart. 2 minutes till we get a new 5-minute bar. 5-minute bar still showing strength. I'm almost out of this thing. Bull is just strong, pushing it higher. I'm out. That's all she wrote. So we're coming up to the top of this congestion area from the overnight price action. Mikey got a little donkey. Again, I'm watching the 5-minute, coming up to some kind of congested areas here. Waiting to see some like stalling action in wicks, but so far we're just pretty strong. It's a bull. My God. That's a weak looking bull, man. Is that indicative of the bulls being weak? That's great. Yeah. High B broken. Initial balance. $54 held. I was involved here, added some more up here, and then got taken out at 83. Had a short just in and out, a little bit of a loss right off the bat, 6 minutes in, got out of it, a little bit of a scratch. So this one has been the only trade I've taken today, like the only one that has been more legitimate. They should all be legitimate, right? And Micah got involved here at 68. Somewhere at 68, be it here or here. Yeah, that 54 level held, and then off to the races. Go Bulls. Yeah, I would think 93 to 97 we could see at least a pause, perhaps. So pretty strong. I'm going to be wrapping up pretty soon here. Really just had one trade today. It was a loser. All right, another 40 seconds so we get a new 5-minute bar. Let's watch our 15-minute bar is looking pretty strong. Oh, let's see. The other day, what was that? Let's look over here. 5 minute, the bull's just marching it up. So it looks like, I was talking about that 45 quarter earlier, looks like that some business was done there. The longs from last Thursday's move could have been shaken out at that level. And then from there, we really haven't looked back since. We've just pushed it nice and high. Yeah, it's pretty strong, Greg. Pretty strong, no doubt. Let's look at the hour here. Greg T says, take a look at that. Yep, put that out. Now we're trying to claim that. Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it, Greg? Being involved in the long side when you're definitely in a bear market. A little tricky. So there's top of that range. Still got another 2.5 minutes until we get a new 5-minute bar that closes out. Well, definitely a different tempo today. So yesterday was very active, had 5 trades. All of them worked out well. They were all winners today. I've got 1 scratch trade and 1 loser. Kept the powder dry, but I'm going to have to wrap it up soon here. So market's strong, just pushing forward. Not that it has to remain strong, but that's where we're at right now. Hey, thanks, Gold Fever. You too. Hope you're doing good today. Just sitting back. Not sitting on my hands, but close. Just waiting. Oh, that's nice, Greg. That's cool. Very good. Awesome. I'm in Missouri, Greg. Springfield, Missouri. No, it's not. I work at a nonprofit. I've mentioned before, I used to travel with my work, uh, doing hail damage where there were like significant hailstorms. I'd only have to work for about maybe 3.5 months, and then I'd have time off to trade. Um, but recently took a job here locally at a nonprofit, and I go into work at 11. It's flexible, like 11:15, 11:30 sometimes, and help out there. So it's nice where I'm able to watch market action in the morning, and because for me, I feel I'm able to read the market best in the morning time. So you get to watch that in the morning, and then go into work. Works out well. Poland. Awesome, man. Well, welcome. Glad you're here. So market's strong. Market is strong, that's for sure. Just pushing up higher. Got a new 5-minute bar. Let's see what this one does. Yep, just moving up. Got some tight pullbacks to it. I'm watching for one more opportunity, see if we push up a little bit higher, but at the same time, I don't want to step in front of a train. I don't want to do that. That's never fun. Just doesn't feel good. Oh, that's awesome, Greg. Yeah, no problem, man. Super cool. Excellent. Sweet. With winning in mind, that one, or trading in the zone? Both are fantastic. Trading in the zone. Oh man, it's great, dude. You're gonna love it. If my Polish was better, I'd just sit and read it to you. It'd be like an audible book, right? Free of charge. Oh man. All right, let's watch and see the Bulls push higher here. See what they're doing. See if they keep moving it or not. Eating the gap. I like that. Just like, just munching away at it, right? Eating the gap. 4 times cheaper. Well, shoot, I better learn Polish then. 4 times cheaper on Amazon. Pays to be Polish, baby. It pays. Well, I'm just sitting here doing a whole bunch of nothing. Well, that's cool, Greg. Well, I've got to go in. I'm not going to take any trades unless something crazy happens here. So let's wrap up our day. Micah, great trade out of you, getting long at 68 there. Well done, man. That's really nice. Anyone else? If you took any trades, hopefully you did well. Hopefully you knew where you were right and wrong. Let's see. Final thoughts. So today was a loser for me, but want to remind ourselves and remind you guys that we can and will have a winning performance every day, simply because we define winning as, at least I do, define it as watching and observing without emotion, not fearing that you'll miss the move, and then placing our trades with our targets and our stops in place. When we do that, we're following the process well. We're going to know where we're right and wrong. We're going to let the market show us what it wants to do. Today we pulled lower, and now we're just pushing higher. So hit that 37.41 area, did an about face there, pushed up, and we haven't looked back. We've just kept on moving. All right, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Trade well, and I will be back tomorrow.